Sean, it's great to have you, because I know you don't do a great deal of this kind of stuff. Because I remember you coming to me some time ago and saying, I'd like to do it, but I don't think I'm any good at it. I don't know whether we were talking about interviews or what, but...
Interviews, I think.
I think probably were.
Yeah.
Was it that film, that great film, Goldfinger, Strict Rules of Golf, Mr. Bond?
That's very good.
Thank you. I've been waiting to do that for years.
Very, very good.
Yeah. Was that what introduced you to golf?
In fact, it was my dentist.
Yeah?
He was Ian Caldwell, who's English amateur champion, and was the one responsible for making me a member at Sunnydale Golf Club, introducing me to it, and it's been one of the greatest sensations, 90% of the time, and 10% of the time. It's been... well, we're on television, I won't go into it.
An anticlimax. That might be the way to describe it.
Yeah, well, it's amazing, actually, how hot it is in here. Is it a small budget you're doing?
It is. It is. No, it's not so much that. It's my body heat. It's all the excess fat is burning itself off in your direction. That's really what it is. And just before I interviewed you, he came on, he said, "Why are you wearing that pullover? No wonder you're so hot." I said, "It's all right for you. You haven't got a stomach to hide." Sort of like that. But you could have been a footballer, couldn't you? East Fife nearly had your services.
Well, yeah, Manchester United I was keen to go with, but then I was already 23, I think. And the average age of their team then was about 17, 18, unfortunately, all these guys that got it in the Munich disaster.
Right. Yeah?
But one regret that I didn't start golf earlier. I could have lost all of my hair by the time I was 28.
But tell me, are you a very... we're talking about to Robert Powell, and I've been lucky enough to play golf.
I'm 55 in August.
I'm 47 tomorrow. Yeah, but I was hoping to keep quiet about it. I was going to ask you whether... I wasn't going to ask you about your age at all, because I assumed you were a younger man than me. And I was going to ask you whether you... And I've forgotten what I was going to ask you. Yeah. You're a competitive chap on the golf course, too, like Robert. Are you not?
No, not at all.
Wouldn't hurt to fly. Mm. Was that laugh from your wife there that I was going...
She's there, yeah, she's there.
Yeah, but you came south originally, so they tell me, to take part in a Mr. Universe competition.
Oh, yes, I was much prettier then. That's absolutely true, actually. I came for the Mr. Universe contest they used to have at the Scala Theatre, and that's when I heard about these auditions for a show called South Pacific. And then I went out, auditioned for them, and got the part and went on tour.
In the chorus. Before that, you'd had a number of jobs. You'd been a milkman, the owner of the cleanest milk cart in Edinburgh.
Yes.
I know all that stuff. And also, you're a coffin maker, were you?
Polisher.
Coffin polisher?
Yeah.
Was that when you started to pump iron and do all that stuff?
That was right, yeah. There was very little else one could do with the background and situation I had at hand.
Yeah.
And, in fact, it was because I was invalided out of the Navy. I was given a chance to go to the Deaf Hillock Hostel in Glasgow and work at the Hillington estate and become either a French polisher or a tailor or a barber or a upholsterer. And we used to have to practice on each of us. But I chose the French polisher because I thought I could, with a motorbike, go in and out and make a few quid on the side, and it would be, you know...
You ended up French polishing the coffins. I can't imagine you doing it. The very first time I saw you on television, I was very young. It was,
you were at school.
It was black and white. It was black and white, and it was the Age of Kings.
Oh, yeah.
Weren't you Hotspur?
That's true, yes.
I remember you saying, "My lord, he never did fall off." I honestly remember that line for so long, and I'd never seen you in anything before that. And the next time I saw you was as James Bond. That was, what, 1962?
Precisely.
Yeah. Were you an Ian Fleming fan? Had you read any of those books before?
No, not at all. I was given the book, obviously, a couple of them, Dr. No from Russia would love to read when I had been approved to play the part, as it were. And I spent some time with Fleming, and very, very interesting man, terrible snob, but a great companion. He knew about everything, you know. I think some of the records that he created as an athlete at Eton still stand.
Did he teach you about martinis being shaken, not stirred? Or did anybody take you around, this rough-hewn Edinburgh lad, did anybody take you around the smartest spots of London to show you what you should be, or how you should stand behind a croupier, or any of those kind of things?
No, not really. I had the good fortune to work with Terence Young, who's a great connoisseur, gourmet, raconteur, and fortunately we share a similar sense of humor, and a great deal of the success of the films really should be attributed to him.
But you created the character, you created the part. I mean, it had been on a printed page before that.
Yeah,
was there anything of yourself you put into it? Did you see it as a type, or did it grow with you?
No, I think that basically I was really not that greatly experienced as an actor when certainly as a film actor, I'd worked enough in the theatre. But Terence Young and myself shared a similar sense of humour. And I think that really resolves 80% to 98% of the problems of everything. And between that and his background and what he knew about the guards officers and all that kind of thing, it worked out very well.
Yeah. I had Roger Moore on the show some time ago.
Who?
Yeah. He's a smaller, quite insignificant looking fella, and he did an impersonation of you as 007. Do you do any good Roger Moores? That's it. You had it there. That was it. That's the best Roger Moore I've seen in a long time. Because I've seen you do impersonations of other people. I've seen you do. I've seen you mimic Bruce Forsyth's golf swing.
Listen, I spend most of my time with lawyers. And I don't want to get into another one.
Oh, how's it gone this week? How's the golf gone this week?
Well, I must say, the combination of Arnold Palmer and Gary Player is fantastic. And everybody, the very first day, I've been here since the day before it started, and the anticipation was enormous, totally justifiable. And the thrill of the crowd, and it's from the kids right through the card, to meet the two, see them play, and they have been just perfect. And the games have been very dramatic, and there's really been, as Peter was saying earlier, some extraordinary scoring, and I must say, it's the most pleasurable. And I must say, coming to these pro celebrities, for me, is like a replacement for somebody who had schooling, and it was where you meet, well, they had, I don't know what they have these socials every annual dinners and things.
Yes.
Well, this is what it's like for me to come to these, to meet all the guys like yourself and Jimmy and Bruce and all that. We have a great deal of fun, and you meet these pros, and one's impressed by them and everything, and they are so terrific to play with, and you make such a fool of yourself in some ways. But there is something awfully important about it for me, and a great pleasure. And I must say, these two are the sort of professionals, and I have great respect always for pros, and these two are marvelous.
You don't get nervous anymore when you stand on the tee to play with people like that? We're talking to Mike Baldwin, Johnny Briggs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no question, because I mean, you just have to replay the tapes.
Yeah. Standing there like a jelly.
I was invalided out the Navy with ulcers. I could get them again if I was playing this more than 1 week a year.
Yeah. You're here also, for me, get on another tack, to launch International Youth Year, which you're involved
well, this
in.
is the second year we're into it. It's a bit sad in a way, because I feel that there's enormous effort gone into it, and yet they've lost slightly the momentum. And it may be because of the climate now with the unemployment and everything, but it would really be smart of the commerce, industry, arts, and whatever else to invest in the youth, because after all, that's the future. Eh? And if you can't get them into it, where are you? And if any country needs the youth, it's this country, and I mean Scotland.
How do you feel about living abroad so many years, being back in Scotland? Are you glad to come back, or do you come back with a certain apprehension?
No, I always enjoy coming back. It's always an emotional experience. Yeah. And even, I mean, I spoke to Keith Maxwell, the pro down at Sunningdon. He's a Scots guy as well. And he comes back, and we were talking about it. It's something that's, it's not just nostalgia, it may be sentimental in a way, but there are so many have had to leave and gone, and Ireland's the same. Yeah. And it's rather sad that they don't contribute, as it were, to the situation here, and the situation here is related to the youth.
Well, we're glad to have you, and I'm glad that you continue to associate yourself with something as worthwhile. And maybe I'll see you on the course. Thank you so much. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this brief sojourn at Turnberry as much as we have. On Monday week, we'll be back in Scotland for the opening of the Edinburgh International Festival. And next Friday, I'll be on a train to Newcastle. And don't come back, they cried. And in between, meeting the likes of Martin Shaw, Donald Pleasance, the Duchess of